Hello, it's Jesse here, and we just got the crankshaft for the 850 Norton Commando back from the machine shop. They removed the races and they magnafluxed it, but we're not going to talk about this in this video. This video is actually solely going to be about the announcement of a possible new project we're going to go and get here pretty soon. We're getting ready to leave here in a little bit here to head out there and get it. It's a little ways away, so it's going to be a long couple day trip, but it won't be a 2-day video by any means, so it's going to be a real to the point kind of a thing. So this is just me talking pretty much and getting a look at a crankshaft for Norton here in the meantime. So this project bike I'm talking about, we're going to be going and getting, it's pretty much what it is a project. We don't have any idea what is going to be all involved with rebuilding this thing, or if it needs rebuilt or not. We have to assess it when we get it back. But that's kind of the first step you do when you decide, when you get a project bike or a old bike, you want to look it over and see what's wrong with it, pretty much kind of a deal. So from what we know so far on this bike that we're going to go get is that it used to run. It's all there. It's all together. And from what we can tell. And anyway, so we're going to go pick this thing up. So start talking about what it is here in a minute. Well, here we go. We're getting ready to leave. Just kind of sitting here. We're hooking up the trailer right now. And looks like, guess what we're going to go get is a Triumph Trident. So 1973. So we'll talk about it a little bit more later, but this is kind of like our big road trips for. So we'll see how this bike turns out when we go get it. Alright, so I've been riding down the road here for a little while, and I've been kind of looking at this workshop manual for this Triumph Trident we're going to go get. And I'm not familiar with Triumph Tridents, but my father is. He had a couple when I was a kid, and now we're going to go pick this one up, so it's going to be all exciting and everything. So I'm going to learn more about Triumph Tridents anyway. So I knew a lot about Bonnevilles and Tigers and all that great stuff. But anyway, so starting off in the manual here, we've got some nice pictures in the front here where it shows like the models and stuff. Like Triumph Tridents were kind of like a 3-cylinder engine, and they started in 1969, and then they were T150. In 1975 they became a T160, and BSA had a 3-cylinder as well. It was known as the Rocket 3. So in this picture here we see a nice attractive 1972 BSA Rocket 3, with 1972 pretty much being the last year of BSA's. It was kind of like a little too late for them, I guess, because seeing this in the 72 here, they got the tilted forward motor. They didn't really start that in Triumphs until 75. So but anyways, just like freshening up on some of this history and stuff with the Triumph Trident. So alright, so with some history of the Triumph Trident and the BSA Rocket 3, there was the 1969 was the first Triumph Trident when it came out finally, but it actually could have been out in 65, but it got held back because BSA didn't want it to be released yet, because they didn't have nothing cool like that yet, and they were the parent company at the time when they merged. So by the time 69 came around, they had to get this out because they caught wind that Honda was coming out with a multi-cylinder bike, and they needed this out now and fast. And then by 1969, the Triumph was considered not quite the first super bike, but when Honda came out with their multi-cylinder, that was considered a super bike. But if this could have got to the people sooner or first, this Triumph Trident or even the BSA Rocket 3 could have became the world's first super bike. But with performance measures of the Triumph Trident and the BSA, it would outperform a Honda 754. It was a lot faster. So anyway, it's kind of some history there. So Alright, so while we're riding down the road here, I'm still looking through this manual here and kind of looking at this engine page here, and it just has it all tore apart here, and I'm like, oh my god, hopefully we don't have to do any motor work to this thing. So anyways, we got like 3 cylinders here, of course, in this Triumph Trident, and this was Triumph's flagship. They put a lot of money into this bike when they first were developing it in '65, and they should have just did it, but there was too many people that were not motorcycle riders that were running the company at the time, and they just like, it's too bizarre, we can't do it, you know, because the twins were, you know, bringing all the money in, you know, and this was something that nobody was used to seeing yet, and things would have been a little bit different, and this would have came out in '65, because there's actually 65 prototype pictures of the bike that came out, that could have came out. They had the different old tank badge on it and stuff. Anyway, they would have brought this out. Things have been different. They had been first. The other bikes companies have been trying to catch up, but they kind of like were building a coffin when they didn't bring this thing out for themselves. And I don't know, it's just too little, too late, or something like that, you know. So, because by the time all the Japanese bikes came out, they were just sealing the fate for Triumph, and everybody else that was British bikes that still were around at the time in the 70s. You had only had, after BSA fell in '72, you only had like the Triumphs, and you had Nortons yet remaining, and then Norton fell in about 75 and 76 and so, because they didn't import any more bikes to the United States, but they still made a handful of them later in England, and then British, the only thing they had left in was Triumph by mid 80s, and then they were gone. Then they came back, so they're coming back strong. So anyway, that's a whole different story, and we can talk about that some other time, but just getting kind of excited about this thing, because there's a lot of neat stuff in this thing that looks like a lot of it is its own components, but a lot of it looks familiar. Like, see the, in this picture here, they got the push rod tube, which looks just like the way we do it for the Bonneville, the way we did it for the Tiger, which has the O-rings and stuff, so we have to set all that up. But hopefully we don't have to mess with the motor too much. Maybe we can run it for a while, and then after we're assessing it, maybe we need to do some stuff to it, but we'll see what we got when we get it. So well, here we're almost there. We're just filling up right now, some fuel. We're pretty close. We just got a phone call from the person wondering if we were showing up today, even though we told them we were coming anyway, but it's funny. But anyways, they also said that they had another bike they wanted to were wondering if we were interested in. They're going to show it to us when we get there. So maybe we'll check it out too while we're there. I don't know. It's one of them kind of things, is if hopefully it's something sweet we're interested in, it's going to be one of them things where do what we can maybe to get it if it's worth it. Otherwise, we don't want to have any regrets, you know, and miss out on a good deal if we have the opportunity at the moment, you know. So anyway, I don't know, we're probably the next time we talk again, we'll be looking at a Triumph Trident, and we'll see what happens. So alright, so here it is, the Triumph Trident. We're gonna get ready to load it up here. It's pretty good shape. We got a few parts here and there that are not correct, and a bunch of parts that are correct, but it ain't gonna take much maybe to fix this thing up and get it running again. Other than that, the other bike, well, that we were talking about, we'll talk about that in a little while, but this is pretty much the Trident for right now, kind of our sole purpose of going. So anyway, so next time we see this thing, we'll be unloading it, and it'll be at the shop. Alright, here we go. We got the Trident unloaded and in the shop now, and we got it sitting here. We were kind of glancing at the title, and I guess it was they were kind of led us the wrong way. They didn't realize it was a 74, and they actually told us it was a 73, which isn't a big deal. But just want to clear that up. So in future going under this bike, it'll start saying 74 from here on. So anyways, or we're kind of wondering, they're talking about how the Trident came to be, and it's kind of nice that the reason why the Tridents seem like they had a lot more power than some of them other multi-cylinder bikes is because every time each cylinder there, they fire at 120 duration. So we got one firing at 120 degrees. The number two fires at 240 degrees. And then at 360, the third cylinder fires. So for every rotation, we have, you know what I'm trying to say there, we got, right? Am I saying that right? So every third of a rotation, we got a fire. We have a power hit. So it just seemed like once you got going with it, it would just keep going with the takeoff. So if we get this thing running right, this thing's gonna, I mean, it should run like it did back in the day, hopefully. So powerful. So unlike some of the other multi-cylinder motorcycles, like 4 cylinders and other 3 cylinders, some of the other different companies, they didn't run the configuration that way. They'd still have a power hit, but it's how they configured the piston layout. And it's kind of hard to explain, but I'm not a pro at it. But so anyways, so let's go anyway talk about our other thing we got with this whole bike here. So all right, so this is what we got. Also, they had this laying there, and if you can't tell by just looking at the parts, this is a Norton, and in fact, this is a Mark III Norton, and so this has the electric start and all that stuff. A lot of first year and 1 year only kind of stuff. If you want to debate over them making a 76 and 77 and so on, but anyway, they kind of, like I said before, they only kind of like stopped making the Norton in 75 here, bringing them to the United States anyway. So anyways, it's pretty much complete. I think we're missing a couple items. We got a set of wheels, new tires on it. This guy was in the middle of restoring this bike. Kind of restored it wrong because the fenders were not painted silver. But it's mostly all here. Frames have been painted. It's a little too glossy. Little things like that. I don't know how we're going to go about fixing it all up. But anyways, we want it to look accurate when we go to build this thing down the road someday. So hopefully we can build this and you guys can enjoy watching this come together. But we have a box full of parts here, and a box full of parts here, and the bottom end. Bottom end's been rebuilt according to the people we bought this from, so it just never got put back together mostly. It's almost there. I mean, the head needs to be gone through yet, but that won't be too bad. It's an RH4. Yeah, it is an RH4 head, which is correct for 75. And handlebars. Got the tank. Tank's right over here. Ain't really accurate either, but it looks nice.
Exploring with different types of.
So this is like a custom decal, of course, and
Here's the accurate.
The accurate one, yeah. So I don't know if we're going to use this.
It's a nice tank.
Yeah, this is an actual 75 tank. And what makes it a 75 tank is the fact that it's smooth and it has this front here is different.
Doesn't have a lip.
The lip's missing, yeah, like you said.
And there's no lip around here. No lip around here.
And this is a
and
steel
no
tank.
Lip around here. Yep.
But it looks like a fiberglass one. Yep. Fiberglass stuff is kind of what we avoid to have because with the way our fuel is now, it just kind of like eats the fiberglass away. And they go bad and leak after a while. So
74 and earlier.
yeah. So like on my 74, the 74 and older tank looks like this. The lip.
Lip.
Yep. Nice pressed seam lip there. So with that 75 tank, they cleaned it up and made it a little bit more streamlined and slick. So anyway, that's going to kind of end this little segment. Hope this looks like a couple of sweet future projects to you guys, because I really think it's going to be, these two projects here are going to really turn out really well if we do them right. The Trident was kind of faded on the tank. Of course, you've seen that. It was originally a red flash with black, it kind of looks neat like that, but we're probably gonna repaint it anyway. But other than that, we got a lot of projects going on here, but these won't get in the way, and in fact, we'll make room for them as well, just like we do everything else. So anyway, hope you enjoyed everything, and we'll see you again soon.